So this is going to be a little bit different of a video. It's Christmas Day, well, night now, and the whole house is asleep, so I'm just kind of puttering around in the garage, thinking of what I want to work on. I don't really want to start a whole new big project yet right now, so trying to work on something I can kind of just wrap up tonight, or at least make a good dent in tonight. And what I've kind of been needing, wanting, or an idea that kind of gets in my head and I haven't gotten it out. Those tend to happen sometimes. Is making just like a little kindling box. Nothing huge, but just something that I can kind of easily carry a little bit of the kindling that I split up out here in the garage or shop into the wood burning stove. Uh, if you watch some of the videos and you know I'm in upstate New York, and it's obviously Christmas Day evening, so it's December here and things are getting cold, and we've been enjoying having a fire in the wood stove. A bit more of this year, so uh, you know, having the supplies kind of a little more readily accessible would be kind of nice, because right now I'm just carrying them around in a small drywall bucket from in the garage out here to inside, which works perfectly well. But I don't know, the whole idea of having a fire in the wood stove is more one. Yeah, it does cost on or cut down on energy costs, using the natural gas rather than the natural gas furnace or whatever. But it's more like the idea behind it and the warmth that it gives, and the almost the more the you know, I want to use the word romance around it, but I guess that's the right word. The just kind of the feel good that it gives around it. So having something that kind of goes aesthetically with that, and gives us some kind of feelings to use rather than just a simple drywall bucket is my goal. So maybe I'll make it so that I can fit the little kindling hatchet in it. I'm not really sure. This is one that I had made a while back. I think there's some videos up here of me oiling it. Black locust handle that I carved. Little True Temper Tommy axe head. Wouldn't be a good video if I didn't have at least some kind of axe content. So dusty from sitting on the back of the bench, but I never even did put an edge on it. Maybe this project will kind of incentivize me too. This is kind of a little love-hate with this hatchet. I think the handle looks really cool. I like it aesthetically. It's really pleasing. Love the color of that wood. It's darkened up so much, even compared to the video when it first came out. That honey or black locust darkens up to a really nice, like, dark honey color. Love it. Especially when you catch it in the right light, Regardless, though, it looks cooler than it actually is. I think it'd be probably perfectly fine for splitting some kindling, but this hatchet head is just a bit too heavy for just this short of a handle. Maybe if I put a better edge on it, I'll kind of fall in love with it more. Like I said, I really like how it looks. Actual user-wise, less than impressed. So it's kind of just a fun piece to have on the back of the bench. All right, enough rambling. My idea behind it is to use this kind of some scrap. Just use what I've got sitting around in the garage or the shop. So I've got this old hunk of scrap cedar. I'm not even sure what this was from. I think it was from the previous homeowner. And that is, for cutting it off square. Right, we got just over 2 feet, so that'll be good. So maybe we'll make a foot wide box. My idea behind it is that maybe have this this cedar, which is 3/4 inch thick. Yeah, just a hair over. Be the ends of it. So probably cut it in this orientation, and maybe I'll cut a hand hole in it. Maybe I'll do something else for pull tabs on top or something, or handles. I don't know. Kind of go with the flow and see how it feels. First things first is getting this cut down into two equal sized pieces, so then I can see what other scrap I got and we can work from there. So get the set up at the bandsaw and get you a sketchy shot of that and keep at it. How wide is one of these? Roughly 8 inches. Little pieces of kindling from my bucket. I think I might start cutting these down a little bit smaller because I think these sticks are a bit. These are, you know, split down from full size logs, which I usually try to shoot for 16 inches when I'm cutting. 15 and a half, it's pretty close. 15 and a half. Yeah. When I'm positioning these in the wood stove, they're almost like a little bit too long. So maybe I'll shoot for a box that's roughly 8 inches wide, and I'll take a bunch of the kindling that I have and just kind of cut it in half. That'd make them stack nicely. And maybe make a little compartment for, this is fat wood. I don't know if I mentioned that, but this is a big box of fat wood that I got off Amazon. I don't have any pines on the property, so fat wood I don't really come across too easily. And the big box of that was, you know, fairly cheap. You only use, you know, 1 or 2 pieces of these when starting it anyways. So it'll last me a good long time. But I'd like to keep the fat wood separated from the, you know, hardwood kindling or whatever else I decide to throw in there. So maybe I'll make it 8 inches wide. That should be easy enough to do. Probably not exactly 8. I'll probably make it, you know, 9 inches internal dimensions. Just so I got a little bit of wiggle room. So there's some variation in the kindling size. So maybe like 9 inches wide, and then it'll be, you know, a foot long. So that should start plenty enough to have a little supply sitting by the fire, you know, the wood stove. So, and hopefully a box that looks a little nicer. I'll probably keep it in the garage for the most part, but while it's in use, it won't look terrible to be sitting out. Better than a drywall bucket, at least. So that's the goal. Doesn't need to be gorgeous, just better looking than a drywall bucket. So, all right. So let's see what I have as far as. No, I think sides or bottom first. This piece of older, I don't know where this came from either. This might have also been previous homeowners. Some scrappy left in the basement or out in the garage here. May have been mine from a different project. I don't really know. Either way, it's scrap, so it's, you know, some half-inch plywood. Not bad looking. Got a couple small nail holes from screw holes from other stuff, so nothing fancy. And it is 10.5 inches wide. So how wide will that give us internal? Looks like 8 3/4. I'm okay with that. And the other question is, how fancy do I want to get with this? Do I want to actually route or cut with like a dado or groove in the bottom here to overlap it? Maybe I throw these on the outside. They give me a little more room. Hopefully you guys don't find this too boring, me thinking through the or narrating the thought process out here. That wouldn't be bad. I kind of like the industrial look of like exposed screws too, so maybe I'll drop the sides down on here and just do a nice countersink screw those in there, and I'll do the outside with whatever I come up with next. And I also have the table saw set at this same dimension, so cutting a piece of this would be pretty easy. I'm liking this even more. And that would give me an internal dimension of 10.5. That'll be nice. Okay, I made up my mind. That's what I'm doing. So I'm not going to bother showing you another sketchy cut on the table saw. I will just edit it once I come back with the result of the sketchy cut. Hopefully with all my fingers. All right, so we got our sides, got our bottom. Maybe for the bottom I'll even get fancy and kind of offset it up a little bit. That'd be easy to do. Alright, so then I guess you gotta figure out how wide and tall I need for sides, and then check what other scrap I got. Alright, so I came across this piece of underlayment. This side is fairly square, again, for what we're doing. This side is not, so I'll probably just use this side as my reference face, I guess. Talking like I know what I'm talking about. I definitely don't. But the length of here to here is what I'm going to want to be from the top of the box here to wherever I decide that bottom to be. So maybe I kind of like the idea of having the bottom offset. Maybe I'll do it 3/4 of an inch. See how that looks. That seems too tall. Alright, got some little 1/2 inch scraps. See how that looks. Not that it really matters in any kind of way. I'm just kind of going for what seems right. I like the look of that better. I want for the sides. Looks like it's going to be 7 3/4. So the width that we're going to make these, I'm not even going to bother measuring because it doesn't actually matter. Take that measurement there. Alright, I am back. I clearly did not measure this right because I wanted this to be 7 3/4. And I don't know why it is not that. It is 7 3/4. I guess I just couldn't measure. Oh, that makes sense because it needed to be 6 3/4, not 7 3/4. Okay. I guess that's what I get for trying to read the tape measure upside down. It's not even upside down, I guess you're trying to read a tape measure. Alright, back to the table saw. Alright, we are back now with the appropriately cut. I hope. I haven't actually put it up there yet. The appropriately cut piece. Well, that looks like it's going to fit how I wanted. Next step is give it all a quick sanding. Take some of those little jagged edges of tear out off and start to screwing it together. Well, drilling and then screwing it together. Start with some 100 grit, just because the inside of this is pretty rough. Knock that down a bit, and then I'll move to some 220 for probably just do a 220 right on the underlayment or Luan, just because the veneers on that are pretty thin. I don't want to burn through them. I have not decided yet if I'm actually painting it or if I am just going to kind of leave it that wood. It's not bad looking wood, but I figure if I paint it, I'll probably paint it before I put the screws in, so it'll cover that edge grain a little bit. Still wavering back and forth on it. Now that I've made a mess of everything, we are nicely sanded. Semi-nicely. Basically, it's gonna get sanded. Because I'm gonna screw all of this together, I want to get the measurement to the center of the bottom piece, right? So that way I can go around the outside and mark, at least on this line, where I want to drill all of my, drill all of my screw holes. So remember, because this is going to be flush with the bottom, I don't really need this piece. This is going to be flush with the bottom. I don't really need this piece up here to get this measurement. What I'm going to do is use my little carpenter square here. This one was my grandfather's. They are super handy to have in the shop for various projects. The edge of that ruler. Doesn't even really matter what that measurement is. But just setting that at the edge there, so I can then go around, and then locking it in, and then go around and mark. At least this is my plan. I'm just going to take this and just draw a line right down the center side there. Got that measurement marked. I'm just going to take this. Got those measurements done. The other one I need to do is just, maybe I'll set my other combo square just in case I need that one again. This is another one that was also my grandfather's. I inherited a bunch of his tools when he passed, so it's always fun to use them in the shop here whenever I get the chance. Spent a lot of time with him in his workshop, just puttering around building stuff as a kid, so brings back fond memories. I'm sure most of you guys have similar type stories, so probably just feeling nostalgia because of the season and all too, but either way, happy memories. Alright, so this measurement here is not for this side, because this side, right, we've got that there. So this will be the reference that I can use for drawing the bottom on the side panels. So once I get the sides drilled and screwed together, I should be able to do these sides and have this not flopping around on me nearly as much. At least that's my idea. Again, we're not getting fancy with this. Just using some drywall screws. These are, 6 by 1.25 inches. So you can see after I countersink them, after I countersink it, it should be, it'll go in there 1/2 inch or so. That should be plenty. Again, this is only holding light kindling. It doesn't need to be super sturdy. Alright, I'm gonna screw this up too. You guys probably noticed what I was doing too. This line needs to be in the center of So this is also, a foot long. So maybe we'll just kind of do a rough eyeball spacing of, say, we'll throw one at 6 inches right in the center. And because I don't want to get too close to the edge, maybe we'll throw one at 4, one at 2, and we'll say at 8, and at 10. The reason I don't want to get too close to the edge too is because when we're putting these ones on, those screws are going to drive in that way, so I don't want to interfere with that. I'm going to do my usual punch, but I got this little guy that I made, so we will. I'm paranoid that I've knocked this loose, but once we get one in there, it won't be as critical. All right, everything still feels lined up. I'm just going to get a divot where I want each of these to start, just so that drill bit for the countersink bit doesn't want to wander. It's pretty soft cedar, so it shouldn't, but everything I can stack in my favor with this build is helpful. Alright, so we got those spaced out. Countersink bits on my French cleat storage container. Looks like this one will work. The tip of it's also broken off, if you can see that, but it'll be fine. Now on to the ends. So this also has enough flex that I feel like I should be able to get this to line up. The question is, that I was going back and forth about before, is do I paint these ends? Well, either way, I need to drill these holes. I think I want to do that even before I paint it, so that's what makes sense to me. So we will continue while I continue to think about it. Using my finger as a stop. I think it's a little easier than that's right. This is, I think this is going to be too small for properly countersunk hole. I'm just going to use my finger again. So measurement this small, I think it's plenty accurate. Shouldn't say measurement this small. Measurement this unimportant. It's plenty accurate. Plenty of measurements that are small and very important. Now I need to figure out screw placement. So obviously I'd like to have one that's in each of the corners, but that's also where these are going to intersect a little bit, so I think I'm fine to favor this side a bit. And the upper line, so call that one right there. Keep it the same. Offset. This side. Alright, that looks better. I know that's not super precise, but it's good enough. And then for here we got 6.5. Don't want to get too close to the top, so we'll drop that down to 6. Say, yeah, that works. So we're 3 inches apart, but they're offset on the bottom there. I know I'm way overthinking this, but yeah, whatever. Three. 6. These ones are fine to go right where we marked them. There you got our bottom ones. These ones are going to do just off center of that. The idea behind that is just to give that head of that screw, 1/16 more before it's bumping that outside edge when we do the countersink. I know, it does not matter. Probably have a lot of OCD tendencies I need to just let go of, but hopefully the attention to detail and the OCD-ness makes for a nice end product. Right? Silver lining. I think coming out in the shop and working on projects like this is a good situation and a good environment to kind of let some of that particularness and OCD-ness kind of come out. It's a good environment to do that. And that way, when you go home and you're dealing with the kids and stuff like that, you don't have to be as much of a perfectionist. You've got it, you've gotten it out of your system. You feel like there's, more order and control than there might be in other areas of your life because you've, had some time to yourself. It helps, helps center you, give you peace of mind. So. What we're going to do is drill tiny little pilot holes. So that way I don't have to go through all of that measuring and scribing again. The drill index. That should work. Because I don't want this to these to walk after I drill these, so I'll get the first ones kind of lined up right. And what I'm going to do is just throw on these little nails in size should be fine. Just to help keep things aligned as I go around and do the rest of them. Okay, is this the side I want out? Yeah, so we opposites one another. I'm not using it to tack those on, though that probably would have been a smarter move. Should I? Should I just tack them on? I guess before I decide that, I need to decide whether I want to paint them or not. I'm going to take a look through my nails, little nails like that. Not these exact ones, but see if I have ones that look a little nicer, that aren't rusty. Maybe I will go that route. Alright, this is a pretty quick decision. I think I'm going to go with these, just because this box is not super... It's not fine woodworking, right? It is what it is. I've said it a number of times throughout the course of this video. I kind of like the rusticness of these little like wire nails or cut nails, and I've got a bunch of them here. One of these little organizer drawers. I believe this drawer is either my grandfather's or my wife's grandfather's, so I inherited them. I kind of like the idea of using these little nails for it. I think they'll look good for what it is. You know, it's a kind of a rusticy looking box. So, and I think it'll look a lot better than countersinking and being so close to the edge. So, it's my box, I'm just going to go for it. I am still going to drill the pilot holes though, just for the sheer placement of everything. I think with the rusticness of this, maybe I'm gonna paint these. Counter or drill the holes. All look good. I think that flat black would look good with these nails. Whatever. I've talked about painting them enough. I should just do it. Clearly, I want to. Just a quick one to take the little burrs off from where it painted or drilled. So I don't think I'm going to paint the insides, just the outside maybe. We'll see. I'll paint the outside, and then if there's enough overspray where it looks terrible, I'll paint the inside. Alright, so I gotta get a little paint setup going on here, so I'll be right back with you. So I've got this chalkboard paint from, I don't know, forever ago. Looks like it's stamped from 2011 maybe? Probably that old. But the theme of this is working with what we got, using scrap up to do something that's hopefully useful. So in that spirit, I'm just going to go with it. If I really hate this, I do have some just flat black, but this is older, and I kind of like the idea of being able to write something or just have the side of it be chalkboard paint. I'm sure if I used flat black, it would work just as fine as chalkboard paint too, but no, this is what I'm doing, so see how it goes. By the way, it is way too cold in this shop to actually be painting. I'm sure this instruction's safe for it to be above like 50 degrees or something. But yeah. Ideal painting surfaces should at least be between 50 and 85 degrees Fahrenheit. It is definitely not. It's like 30. Yeah, it's just barely above freezing, but we're rolling with it. I don't know how long it's really going to take to dry in these conditions. I'll probably move the heater over here and point it at a little bit just to help kind of dry it a little better. So you can kind of see that's what our general shape's going to be like. Our general look will be. I like how this kind of is coming out. There's just really nothing left to do it but to do it. So. As I'm taking it tonight, it's getting pretty late. I think the kind of cedar with the black looks cool. I don't know if I actually messed the paint up there or not, but whatever. Looks good in my opinion. I'm happy with it for what it is and what the intended purpose is. I think it'll do exactly what I'm asking of it. Again, my plan is to kind of cut this kindling down into some smaller pieces, so that it'll fit in there nicely. You could lay it like that too, it'll be fine, but it also fits this sap or fat wood nicely with enough room that if I wanted to, I could kind of keep a little hatchet in there. Kids are a little young for that, but eventually. Yeah, I like it. So if you enjoyed this, stay tuned for part 2. I don't know when I will get around to it, but I'm having fun with it. And let me know what kind of finish you think I should throw on the wood. I'm thinking just like a boiled linseed oil and just kind of let it cure. But maybe I'll do my standard boiled linseed oil, which I usually use on stuff. And I've also got stuff I call axe oil, which is a mixture of. You've seen me put it on if you've watched the videos. You've seen me use it on some stuff. It's a mixture of pine tar, turpentine, and boiled linseed oil. The purpose of the turpentine is really just to thin the pine tar and the boiled linseed oil so it still wants to soak into the wood. But it gives a little bit darker color. If you put it on too thick, it can get kind of tacky from the pine tar. So maybe not the best option for something like this that might collect dust, but I'm thinking probably just a standard boiled linseed oil, but let me know what you think, what kind of finish you'd put on it. Hopefully you enjoyed. Like I said, if you enjoyed watching it, stay tuned for part 2. Thanks. Merry Christmas, everyone.